Namaskaram. Hello. I am Mathangi Keshavan, a Bharatanatyam dance artist. And on behalf of Annapurna Indian Dance Company, I welcome you to International Women's Day celebration, where we will hear some exciting insights into building a career in dance in the UK from one of UK's extremely distinguished Bharatanatyam dance artists. A career spanning across 50 years as a performer, choreographer, educator, and teacher. The artistic director of Chitralekha Dance Company, established in 1988. A choreographer who brought together the expression of science and mythological ideas in her Bharatanatyam productions. A teacher who has produced UK's finest dancers and conducted over 30 Arangetrams. She is a Fellow of ISTD, a member and senior examiner of the Classical Indian Dance faculty. It gives me immense joy to welcome Chitraleka Bolar to our series today. Namaskaram Akka. It is such a delight for me to be speaking to you today on this occasion of International Women's Day and really celebrating your career in dance.
Namaste, and thank you so much for inviting me to be part of this fabulous event.
Akka, your career is spanning across 50 years with several highlights to your credit. I really don't know where to start from, but I was hoping if you could share with us perhaps two highlights or personal achievements from over the years.
One is to establish Bharatanatyam as, to make it unknown to this area. I mean, there were dances in London, but in Birmingham and Midlands area, there were no Bharatanatyam dances. So that is the first step of I feel good about that. And the other one is to set up my own dance company. Although I got pushed and pulled to do this, but I made a company happen, and we toured for over 20-30 years. So that is a kind of achievement. I mean, that is on the way that you mentioned Arangetram, and from the Arangetram, there were so many students of mine, not just did Arangetram, but continue to be involved with dance, some in professional, some just as a hobby, but they are involved. So I kind of left idea of legacy, I think. When I came to this place, Birmingham, and the very first thing, I just found out that there was no dancer, as I said. Only dance which was practiced here was called as yoga dance and Hindu dance. So from Hindu dance and yoga dance, for all the people to know Bharatanatyam, that's where I got my pleasure from.
Absolutely, Akka. That leads quite nicely to the next question I was thinking, because like you said, you've literally helped build an ecosystem for Bharatanatyam to flourish here in the UK. What do you feel were some of the factors that contributed to your journey? And maybe what are some of the tips you can share with those of us who are starting new in the country?
We had to make our own way, the first set of dancers. And I guess we just had to say yes to all kinds of work, first of all, okay? No money involved at that time. Nobody offered money. And as a dancer, because as I did not learn this to become a professional dancer, so it was quite hard for me to come up with yes, I need to have a fee. And I did have huge amount of problem at the time, finance, but still somehow we managed. That's one thing that you had to work, whether you wanted to or whether like workshop. I mean, that workshop was a word that I had never heard except where they meant the cars, so where I come from. So I had to find out how this workshop worked in the first place. So it wasn't a class, because you had to, in the short time, an hour's time, you had to pass on a substantial amount of knowledge to the children, or not like technique, but to understand what this dance is all about. So that was a thing to learn. This is an advice to anybody. You just need to make network with people. That is what it is at the moment. It's just networking, get to know people, arts officers, and venues, and actually clients, and to have classes. And that's where our my belief is that we train, we create our own audience. So
fantastic, Kaka. I mean, you rightly, brought out the point about building the audience there.
yeah.
You have to network and build the audience with you. I think that's a great tip for all of us. And we know how involved you are in training students and the next generation of dancers and so on. And you've conducted over 30 Arangetrams and so on. I was wondering if you see any differences in the students of Bharatanatyam from then when you started out to today. And also, I'm curious to find out who your inspiration was when you were a student of dance.
Which one first? My inspiration? Yeah. Okay. So my inspiration were, I'm from a little village. Everything is, for me was just heard or read in the newspaper till I saw Yamini Krishnamurti for the first time. And I had collected loads of her pictures from the Illustrated Weekly, and I still got them in an album. So all the paper cuttings I used to keep from Illustrated Weekly. Little did I know that the article was more interesting than the photo, because I was too small. I just collected the photos. So then I got to see her, and I was just blown away. And the next thing is that I went to next week's class, and as I was dancing, I was trying to incorporate what I seen, and she was like leaping across the stage, dhalang kutum, and she was over there. And so I was like, I tried to do that in my class, and my teacher was like, "Oh God, Chitra has been possessed by Yamini." So that was, those are the people who I actually dreamt of, saw only in books, and then visually to see, and also Vaijayanti Mala and her beautiful expressions and everything. Those are my inspiration. But when about here, when the how the students' demography has changed, or whatever it is, initially when I came, as I said, as there was no dancers or teachers, knowledge available, so whoever was learning, they were really hungry for the knowledge, and they were lapping it up. And people, they couldn't have enough class. I mean, there wasn't enough time to give so much, but yet they would commit themselves to that level that I didn't have to pursue them to practice and this. But that has changed, because now there are more practitioners, more classes available. And also, in that time, I used to have many local British, people. Actually, they were not youngsters; they were grown-up people. I used to have a whole bunch of them learning dance, but I have no idea how that part of people have disappeared from learning side, and don't know, but slowly, I mean, I still keep in touch with some of them, but they're all, they're all professors and whatever else, So, but yes, that is the sad part, because initially, without realizing, they came, and in the same way they, went away. So I don't know what to say, but I guess now that there is more Indian young children learning, so they're adults, so they might be feeling a bit, oh, this is not for us, this is only for children, kind of thing. Don't know. We can't understand all that.
Very interesting point you mentioned, Akka, about how the demographic of the student population has changed. Yeah, it's a very interesting observation. Akka, so when you think of Bharatanatyam and where it is today, um, is there anything you'd like to see changed in the sector?
I personally feel that it's not wanting it. It happens. The change, I think, like people, I always say, because dance or any art form is breathing, it grows with people and it grows with environment. And what we have here isn't the same, the dance. I mean, I go as, examiner to other countries as well. And then I see the dance and the people, how they practice is slightly different. I think it is to do with the environment, it is to do with people, and change happens. And I think only thing is we need to learn to embrace it. That's all. And I think we can't plan the change, you know. uh, I personally think, because I was looking at some of the old dance styles, dancers dancing from that to now, so many changes have happened. So many, everybody wanting clarity in the moves and, expression. Everybody's learning to express themselves in their own particular way. And an item from my teacher to me has changed because my life experience is different. So even though he's taught me and I used to do in a certain way, now I'm doing it differently because my experience tells me this is how you can also do it.
I actually have another question that came to my mind as you were speaking. Has your approach or methodology of teaching also evolved over the years?
Definitely. Okay. From the time that when I first started teaching here, I was teaching very much in the same order as my teacher would teach. Okay. Then it kept on changing because when you deal with different set of children, your ways of speaking, your way of conveying changes. And then examination came. ISTD set up the exams, and because of that, the whole like the way I teach has changed now. It's very, very methodical, and I aim at the ISTD exams, and I feel like it is a very beautiful syllabus which help children to gradually develop their skills and knowledge. Um, so kind of it makes them a complete dancer.
You've worked on so many productions, choreographed, and brought out some fabulous work. We have spoken about the science and mythology coming together. So if you can talk a little bit about that. And also, given that it's International Women's Day celebration, were there any productions that had a feminist aspect, either in the form of a mythological character or anything that you can share with us, please?
Okay, so the first one itself was a women-based. Andal was the first one. And afterwards, there was one more I did on Mani Mekhale, which is Madhavi's daughter, and who left all her, worldly, riches and whatever for becoming a Buddhist nun. We were resident artists at the Birmingham University for like 5-6 years, and our office was straight opposite the science department. So this Dr. Stolberg, he would always ask me, why don't you do something to do with science? And I said, but what? And I said, I'm not a scientist. As he said, I'll give you some essays, have a good read, and you come back. So after much time reading essays, I went back to him saying that I would like to do a story of carbon. And he said, oh, that's good. That's a nice one. I'll contact you back in a few weeks. And then I wrote the scenes, based on that essay. And then I said to him that, could you tell me what is Carbon like? What is the character? So he said, nobody asked me this before. He said, this is the first time somebody's asking me what is the character of a gas. So, what is oxygen like? What is nitrogen like? I wanted to know all of these things. So he gave me a whole written what they do and what kind of jobs they do within the system. So that's how the first one came, and it was great fun. And it's not just my piece, never. It is Mind's Only Thinking, then it is music directors, and at the end of the lighting designer, the stage designer, the dancers themselves. They bring very special things. Whatever I say, if they say, "Oh, Akka, will we do this? Shall we do this?" And I would say, "Yeah, let me see that." So it's really nice because everybody has, when they are part of a project, they all have a particular idea that they would like to contribute. So, and then as long as that is respected, it becomes a very unique piece at the end.
Wonderful, Akka. Coming to the world we're living in today, we spoke about the pandemic earlier, but I do follow your work, and I've seen that during this time, almost I want to say quite earlier on, I saw you had a wide range of students showcase, online students showcase, and I was wondering if you can tell us a bit more about that and how you felt doing this virtual showcase helped the students wade through the pandemic.
How to cope with this given situation, because we never have done anything online. So straight away, March last week itself, we went online and we tried to learn everything. Then we lost a lot of students because firstly, for Wi-Fi reasons, they don't have a good Wi-Fi system. Some parents lost jobs, and various things happened. But whoever was with us, we needed to give them something to feel proud that they're continuing, and also make them part of this whole, and not to make them feel like it's just a mundane learning. So we decided that we would do an annual event. We always have an annual event, very big, in a big venue here. So this time we asked the parents whether they would be prepared to video the children and also dress them. So it was quite a lot of commitment as for the children and the parents. So we kind of half as many people committed themselves. So for them, we created, it was an event called Indradhanush Rainbow, so that firstly, everybody could get hold of certain color in their wardrobes, not too complicated. So, and then we made how to drape the material on very simple and all that. And then we specifically designed different dances for different age group. And we got them to video and send, and our brilliant Subhash women edited it fantastically. And everybody felt really, really good that, they managed to put an event together with the youngest students were like 5-year-old. So it was really brilliant. For them, it was, wonderful to be part of that event. And they had never danced before. It was our very beginning, beginners, from the beginners till the very seniors. So yes, it was all learning all the time, I'm afraid.
Almost feels like you always have something up your sleeve for any kind of situation. So I'm wondering, what do you have coming up in the next couple of months?
It is nothing to do with up my sleeve. There is nothing up my sleeve. It is from the beginning, it is a survival instinct. Okay, it is to survive, whatever it is. However, I wanted to change if the the water's flowing, it needed to change a route. There was a big wall, and you had to change. You just changed without any question. So when you found and there is something else there, so you just embraced that and went. So basically, I never plan so much. Of course, we all have to have some plan for future, but I never plan like this big event I'm going to do or anything. But like, it's just to make my life and everybody around me life a little bit more interesting. That's all.
Thank you so much, Akka. You've left us with a beautiful thought about flow with the water as the water.
Yes.
So it was so nice talking to you, Akka, and you've shared wholeheartedly, generously, and so many tips that we can all take away.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me, and I hope some part of my journey came through in the genuine way that it took place. So
thank you, Annapurna, for this wonderful opportunity.